Well, good morning, everyone. Well, good morning, everyone in Eastern Australia and Western Australia. It's probably pretty early over there. And welcome to the last in this series of Lockdown Livestream. Yeah, well, it's been quite a week for me and my guests, and I guess I'd like to start by just thanking everyone who, at a drop of a hat, turned up and joined my live stream to chat about everything from solar, batteries, CAD software, energy efficiency, hot water. Thanks, Norm. We had some great input from you. And yeah, so that's really our response to the Victorian lockdown and people being able to be stuck at home, whether they're in the, if they're installers or working in the solar industry where you can't go into people's homes or businesses because of restrictions, you can stay at home, learn some stuff, meet some people from the industry, kind of like a mini virtual conference. So I guess I've had about 10 guests on this week, and today we've got a couple of special ones. Now, Bradley, I can see you in the green room. I'm just waving to you there. So we've got Bradley just off screen at the moment, getting ready. And Bradley's probably trying to find the link to send to Craig so Craig can join. So Craig, tell him to check his email. So we've got Craig Hunter and Bradley Patton from PowerPlus Energy coming on in a minute. But I just want to do a bit more of an intro, and then I'll bring you on, Bradley. So yeah, the plan for this really was to have a conversation with an audience, and we've been doing that. We've been having people chime in via chat, and I should remind you that you can actually join directly via video too. So I've put a link into the comments field, depending on what platform this is streaming to you on, and you can click on that link and it'll bring you into the green room. So if you're interested in participating as a video questioner, you're welcome to click on that link. It'll take you into what's called the green room, where you can listen and watch. And g'day, Craig. I see you just popped into the green room there. That's great. And also, you can chat to me via private chat once you're in the green room. So I can go, hi, Craig. There we go. So this is a very unscripted, very casual kind of format where we just have a conversation. I don't even have a list of questions. We'll just see where it takes us. So without too much further ado, I'm just going to bring in Craig and Bradley. So you ready, guys? Thumbs up if you're ready. 2 thumbs, 3 thumbs. Okay, excellent. Right, here we all are.
Good morning, Mr. Morris.
Morning, Glen.
Good morning, Bradley. Good morning, Craig. Just
like
back to the future, guys.
I like Craig's new artwork.
Looked that one up last night.
Actually, your home office is looking pretty swish.
It's had some modifications again because of lockdown 4.0. So, you've got to add a bit of artwork in the background to make it look pretty.
Is it really 4.0? My gosh, I've lost track. Yeah. So we're getting pretty good from working from home, though some of you can't, and sort of manufacture is a bit difficult to do from home. But Craig, tell us, what's your role with PowerPlus Energy?
I'm the sales manager there at PowerPlus Energy. So I look after all of the BDMs and the sales team, make sure that they're attending to all the customers' needs and wants, and ensure that I guess put a bit of input into the product team to make sure the products that are coming through are relevant to what the market requires.
So right. He's the good-looking one. I'm the intelligent one.
So for those who don't know Bradley, and I have known each other quite a long time through the Smart Energy Lab, and I've watched Bradley's business go from a tiny, small Canards storage unit to a large factory in Melbourne. So amazing.
Sorry, your audio dropped out for a sec. I lost that last sentence, the last 2 words.
Amazing growth.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's I sometimes have to pinch myself. I sort of walk around the factory each morning, sort of saying hello to the staff, and it just feels like yesterday I was the one that was packing the orders and building the cabinets, and now I've got other people doing it. It's kind of fun and a bit scary at the same time.
Cool. Hey, I just noticed I had a little dropout then. If I disappear or freeze for any reason, just carry on the conversation. Because it's going through a platform called Restream, it doesn't actually matter if my connection drops. I've been having a bit of a problem the last few days, and I'm not sure what it is, hardware or internet, but it's occasionally I just disappear, which has never happened before.
So do you have the fire going? So maybe the electrons are a bit cold and they're sort of bouncing off the top of the mountain there. I notice you like to take your early morning drone shots of your little bit of heaven. So maybe the electrons are weighed down with a little bit of frost.
There's my frosty morning shot.
Mm. Yeah, you're just rubbing it in that you live in a nicer part of Melbourne than I do.
Well, actually, I've got the aircon on cooling at the moment. It's quite warm in my office. The house is kind of super insulated, so just the computers in my office make it a bit warmer than comfortable. So I have to turn on the aircon, even though it's about 5 degrees outside.
The other attraction is that Hillsville has the best French vanilla slices in the world. So I don't want you to feel like I'm coming to visit you. It's just so I can go to the bakery and get a French vanilla slice.
Are you on first name terms with Joe, the owner of Wild Grains?
Well, not quite. I tend to, once I sniff the pies and I see the colour of the object of my visit, the French vanilla slice, everything else goes out the door.
Well, they managed to get through lockdown 1, 2, and 3 with just click and collect. They did a pretty good job there. I presume they're still doing the same thing here in Hillsville. So yeah, good work, Joe, and the team there. Yeah, but I wish they did some more vegan options. So nudge. A vegan vanilla slice, Joe, would be great.
That would be interesting. I would try that.
So yeah, just to kick things off, what's new in the shop these days, Craig or Bradley?
In the shop at the moment, we're just going through a few modifications of the cabinets at the moment. So the PEF6 that some people may be familiar with used to come with a kit of goodies that you would have to pre-assemble yourself inside the cabinet. That's just the DC isolators and the bus bars. We're just releasing them at the moment where they're pre-fitted inside the cabinet, so there's no longer any need for installers to do that on site to save them some time. And going through a few of the sort of safety side of things with the touching of the bus bars, so there's a bit of perspex now that's being put in the PEF6s and the 9s to stop some of those touch points that can be hazardous for end users if they wanted to go in and turn off the circuit breaker. So that's some of the little bits and pieces that we're doing at the moment. Apart from that, we're working on a lot of new stuff to come to market over the next sort of 2 years. And I'm pretty excited about that. We start sort of really hammering through that over the next sort of 2 to 3 months, which hopefully later on this year, we have some more exciting things that we can release to market.
It's great having Craig working for us because I don't have to sound like a salesman anymore. I can leave that up to Craig. Yeah, look, the focus has been very much on improving safety and also compliance with AS 5139. So, we're looking at different ways of, we've been using the quarter turns on a lot of our doors. So some of our products that require it, we're going to looking at a 3-point locking system so that we can sort of tick a few boxes there. And one of the joys of the way we operate the business is we have that interaction with installers. So we're getting a lot of feedback as to what would make their life a bit easier. And so that's kind of fun when you make that modification and then they come back with a photo or something and saying, "Oh, great guys, that worked," or "That made the job half an hour quicker," or so. Yeah, it's all good fun.
Yeah, so you're always just tweaking the products based on feedback from your installers. I mean, that's one of the great things about having a local manufacturer. we don't have to wait for the international market to demand something. People can say, that grunt strap that you used to have to hold the batteries in, we'd like a grunt version 2. It's a bit, a bit more solid.
Craig had been working on me for over a year to replace the grunt strap, and we had a customer that wanted to use the enclosure for mobile applications, and so we put the boys to work, and they came up with a fixed version, and we scored a lot of brownie points with Craig.
Well, I mentioned the grunt strap because I actually had one of those deja vu moments today. And my electrician's out in the lab installing a well-known brand of hybrid inverter at the moment. And what do you know? There's a Velcro strap to hold the batteries in.
Oh, look, it's in most cases the good old luggage strap will do the job. It's just by moving towards a fixed bracket, it just ticks the boxes for those few times where you need something a bit more robust. And when people open the door of the cabinet, it makes them feel warm and fuzzy that we've put a bit of thought into how we've built the box.
It makes it look more professional, is the way I like to look at it. So
I'll always miss my grunt strap. I'm tempted to get a stencil and write grunt on it and put it on the on the metal bracket.
No, it's got to be Grunt 2.0.
2.0, yes.
But you might have international grunt after you for copyright infringement.
We'll have to think of the Australian version of that word, or yeah.
Yeah, nah. Probably not. Yeah, so Craig, you were mentioning some modifications to the enclosure. Now, look, there'll be people watching this live stream who really not across what PowerPlus Energy do. I did put a little link up there. I'll pop it again on the screen. So PowerPlus Energy make batteries here in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So down in Bayswater in Melbourne. So we manufacture the lithium-ion batteries, bring the cells in from overseas, from China. And in the process here in the factory, we basically assemble it into a full, complete battery storage battery solution. So we have anything from 24, 48, and 120 volt battery modules in 3.3s or 4 kilowatt hours. We have 2 ranges: our Life, which is our premium series, and our Eco range in 48 volt. And we have a range of cabinets that are either modified by ourselves in the factory, or they are made locally as well in Bayswater by some of our metal manufacturers. So even down to the point where, our cable's Australian made, the DC bus bar system that we use now is Australian made. And so as much as we can get Australian made is what we do down in Melbourne.
Yep, all our metalwork, all our packaging, all our labels. As Craig said, we use Oztec battery cables. All the copper's drawn here in Melbourne. So anything we can, we'll use local suppliers.
Right. Yeah. So we're actually got one of the Tower of Power here at the Smart Energy Lab, and it has that new copper bus bar in the rear of it.
Yes.
I've got a question for you. So without notice, can we attach our own circuit protection directly off that bus bar? So let's say we've got 6 inverters that we want each of them to have string over current protection. Can we just bolt onto it HRC fuses?
The bus bar, the way the bus bar is designed at the moment is it has 10 mil bolt holes top and bottom. So each of the batteries are individually protected. So each battery has its own master BMS in it. Each battery has its own dual pole circuit breaker in it. So as long as your design is compliant with good practice and with any relevant standards, and you're sort of complying with the guidelines from the manufacturer of the inverter you're using, you can potentially use our bus bar as your central DC bus.
Great. Yeah. So I like the fact that your product's quite flexible in its application. Certainly the tower, because we've got lots of we can enter from the side, the bottom, the top, anywhere we want really. Just make a hole in it and protect it from sharp edges, and Yeah.
Yep.
And make sure we've put a little mesh there to keep the spiders out.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at sort of new enclosures that provide a bit more protection. We've got some prototypes coming for outdoor enclosures, so they'll have a higher IP rating, and because of the modular nature of the cabinets, you've got the option of having blank panels or filtered panels or fan panels or heat exchangers or air conditioners. So the same cabinet can be used in pretty much any sort of semi-outdoor or outdoor application. They even have the options of second skins, insulation options. So it just makes, and the cabinets can be bayed together. So if you need more than one rack, so just it gives the installer lots of options. And we're sort of looking at pre-wiring some of it, same as our battery cabinets, so that when you're in the field, it's an easy install.
Right.
Yeah, that was a sales pitch.
No, well, it's a truth pitch. Let's call it that.
It's just while possibly in domestic, it can be cookie cutter approach to a solar or a battery installation. A lot of installations, commercial, industrial, and off grid, the requirements of each site can be somewhat different, and so finding a balance between an installer having to do a bespoke installation every time and ways that we can make it easier for them to do the installation and sort of adding value without taking away from what the installer's trying to do is part of our focus at the moment.
Right. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I just brought up your webpage actually. So that people can see what the Life 4833P units look like. So these are a 19-inch kind of configuration, suitable for rack mount, but can be put into a range of enclosures that you make as well.
Yes. Look, I've had a long history of doing technical power quality solutions, so UPS and DC to DC sort of industrial. So the 19-inch rack mount was sort of part of the original inspiration, but as you can see from the photo, we left off the traditional wings so that and we kept the case sort of even on all the sides, so you can mount the battery on its tail or mount it on its side to suit the different applications, and some of our enclosures reflect that. And so it's while from the lead acid history, monoblocks were sort of the way that batteries are built. We've found that this slim design has made it really flexible for a whole range of applications. So, people putting it into mobile applications, it can go sort of under seats or in the back of enclosures, etc., without sort of impeding on the space too much. So it's been quite a flexible design to allow for all sorts of applications.
Yeah, look, if I just give my perspective as an installer, I can think of straight away 4 things I really like about this form factor. One of them you can't see very clearly in this photo, but there's a little lip at the top there, which makes it really easy to pull them in and out of a rack. So getting grip on something that weighs nearly 30 kilos from memory.
41.
Oh my gosh. 41 kilos. It is a 2-person lift. And so
Yes.
having that little lip makes it great. And also when you're putting it vertically, standing it up on the ground and need to pick it up. So it gives you a good purchase, but it's very aesthetic. It's not like a great big handle sticking out the front, doesn't jam on things. That's 1. 2, using those Amphenol connectors with a locking mechanism. And they come off at a right angle. I really like that. That just makes for an excellent kind of layout in a cabinet, but also a safety thing. You can't disconnect them without knowing what you're doing. You actually have to squeeze a little hidden pin and take them off. So that's a really big plus. Number 3 is you've got a no-arc breaker in there. And of course, that means you've got something that's compliant as a point of isolation. So, it can be deemed to be the battery system isolator, and it's overcurrent protection. It's lockable in the off position using a locking device because it is a circuit breaker, and it's load breaking. So it ticks all the boxes in AS NZS 5139 as the point of isolation. And fifthly, it actually is string over current protection as well. So when you put a bunch of these into a cabinet, each one of them has inbuilt double poled string over current protection. So
Yes.
that's great. And the last point, the little blue light. I just love that little blue light. It's especially when you've got a whole row of them, it's kind of just a nice fuzzy warm feeling. And if it's not blue, then it's not a warm feeling.
We had a installer up in Northern Territory finish a project recently with 100 120-volt batteries, and so he had 5 cabinets lined up, and he took some photos with the lights in the room turned off, and so you've got these 5 black towers of batteries with the blue light sort of lighting up the room. It was quite an effective photo.
Are you saying it's better than my one with the little blue light underneath? I did the spooky one.
Well, I was always impressed with going up to Moramora, and you had the string of LED lights around your fridge, so you could see whether your system was working or not, just by staring at your bedroom window.
Yeah, actually, I think the lights intentionally were there is bread to be collected.
Yeah.
It was because we actually had a communal kind of bread recycling service there for a while, where a local company who baked bread would always have some left over, and they would, for a very small fee, give us all the leftovers, like literally an empty old fridge full of bread every week, and we'd just come and help ourselves. And so just to know that there's bread in the fridge, I had those little lights around it.
Did you get quite creative with the bread, with the sandwiches you were making at all?
Well, there's always a bit of race to get your favourite loaves, because they made about 5 different types of loaves, and so there's always the gluten-free ones left at the end of the week.
They go a bit hard. My brother, he's gluten intolerant, and he has gluten-free bread in his house, but he has to keep it in the freezer because it doesn't last very long, and it's quite firm after a couple of days. So.
Yeah, cool.
Now, you forgot to mention the RJ connectors on the left-hand side. With their base model. Sorry?
I'm getting to those.
Oh, sorry.
But you beat me to it, so tell me about them. Oh, we lost Craig.
On their standard, on the standard range, on the P range, we have a volt-free contact on pins 5 and 6. So if the circuit breaker trips or the BMS goes to sleep, then those pins will go open. But then on the new PS series, we also have a smart interface, so we can connect to our PowerLink module and we can actually read the data off the batteries.
Yes, the PowerLink. In fact,
yes, the same as what you've got on the Tower of Power.
Yep.
It just allows us to support the customer remotely if they've got a problem, and we'll be releasing an app. So we're interfacing to different inverters and to services like switched-in, etc. But we'll also provide an app so that people using their phone or whatever, they can quickly check their batteries. And it also makes it a bit easier for installers, because they'll be able to hotspot to the PowerLink module and do any diagnostic work. We're doing a bit of an integration to the Venus GX, or the GX controllers via Modbus, so we can interface with them. And we're sort of interfacing, doing the Modbus interface to like the Schneider product. We're working with an interface to Selectronic. And we're testing a few other inverters as well, just to make it easy to grab information. But with the digital BMS, it's still a self-managed battery. So hopefully we retain all of the features of the original P model, but just with the advantage of a bit more visibility on what the battery's doing.
Wow. So I just heard you say Modbus with switched in Schneider, Victron, and Selectronic. I don't know if I missed any there. That's cool. So you'll be able to get a lot more reporting through to the inverter itself.
Yep. But we have the advantage that the functionality of the inverter and the batteries is not reliant on that communication working. So for some reason the communication stops working, the batteries will just keep doing the thing, providing the watts to the inverter. So, you know, the whole idea is to keep the installer and the user experience fairly simple. So if in the unlikely event you're on site installing a new system and for some reason you can't get the comms to work, the batteries will still work. You'll still be able to commission the installation. It won't hold up the work you're doing on site.
Wow, that's cool. Could it also be used as a trigger? So for instance, say the inverter wants to shut down the battery. Is that possible? A two-way Modbus?
Okay, it is possible, and we are doing some work with some of the larger power authorities. So with sort of some utility scale installations, they want a bit more input and control. But generally with smaller installations, you know, domestic and smaller commercial industrial, we want the inverter to be the brains doing what it's doing. And we don't want the battery trying to override your programming in the inverter. So just trying to keep it simple and reliable.
Right. So just for your information, Selectronic recently upgraded all the comms cards to Rev 8. So I've got Modbus now on all my microgrid system that the Tower of Power is connected to. So, yeah.
You're trying to create an excuse for me to come back up and have a French vanilla slice.
And bring 3 batteries with you.
Yeah.
As long as you're in a ute and you've got high vis on, you can travel. That's all right.
Yes. But how does that excuse me getting a French vanilla slice? I guess tradies have to eat, don't they?
Tradies have to eat. That's right. Yep. It's just a long 10 kilometres. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, it's funny that we're still Metro Melbourne, way out here in Whoop Whoop land, because of the nature of our council. Our council's a long, skinny one. It extends to Woods Point.
Oh, wow.
So you're still Metro Melbourne, so you've still got another 7 days of lockdown.
You bet. And in fact, Woods Point is about 50k east of here. So I don't know if you've been there. It's pretty remote, and that's still Metro Melbourne.
Yes.
They must be really grumbling.
Yeah, I think that it's a bit unfair on the regional guys, especially people like yourselves, where you've got a lot of green open space around you. But I guess as Mr. Andrew says, we're all in it together. So.
So I was excited when you mentioned Switched In as well, because as you well know, Switched In is one of the system integrators that I have quite a lot to do with here. And I'm actually going to share one of their screens this is the system. Wait a minute. No, it's the wrong one. Oh, hang on. Since I got it up, I'll bring it up. So this is your monitoring platform, which is the PowerLink.
Yes.
Yep. And this is going to be integrated into this data into Switched In. Is that what you're indicating?
Yes.
Ah. Cool. So, I mean, one of the things I have this, as you well know, set up on a screen at the bottom of my stairs, which I walk past 500 times a day, and it sort of tells me all about what's going on the microgrid. So as you can see, by hovering over any of the lines, I can get a breakdown on all 20 of the battery modules, what they're doing right now.
Yes.
You'll be pleased to know they got into balance yesterday. Look at that.
Oh, magic. You mean all the vehicles are all charged up?
Yeah, all the vehicles are finally charged up, and it's 24 hours. That's not yesterday. That's today. Yesterday's over here. Here we go. Over here. So there we go. We got right up to 56 point something volts yesterday. 56.8. So we were fully equalized across all the battery modules.
Magic. No, it's been good having the batteries up there, because it's allowed us to get. You tend to use them fairly aggressively. And so it's good to be able to get that live data back to our engineers just to review what's going on. Because in-house we're doing cyclic testing to look at the longevity on the cells, but also we force the cells out of balance, and then we watch the BMS, bring them back into balance, and We do deep discharges, and then we watch the BMS bring the cells back to life, things like that. But having them, being able to monitor the batteries at your site, it gives us a good picture of how they're handling the day-to-day.
Gives a real life system to sort of trace and track, rather than I guess a computer generated system as you do in the lab.
Well, we hope to make it more aggressive for you, because I was just discussing with Anne, my electrician. We're going to upgrade the bus, the DC bus, to capable of 1,000 amps. So
Yes.
So we can get the full capacity out of those batteries. So that'll be nice to see.
What loads are you going to be running?
Well, there's currently 3 EVs, 2 PHEVs, and plus a lot of water heating, 3-phase and single-phase water heating. So yeah, no problem getting 40 kilowatts pumping along there.
I remember very early in the piece, one of the first times I came up to Moramora, and I had a 12-volt 100-amp-hour battery that I was using as a prop for talking to some of your students. And I was a little bit green at that stage, and I'm talking to 5 or 6 guys about the pros and cons of LFP, and when you might use lead acid and when you might use LFP. And there's a very excited Glen Morris goes, oh, you can short circuit these. And I'm going, yes. And Glen nicks off, comes out with a big chunk of wire, and goes boom. And it shut down. So, but I was a very nervous salesperson at that moment, wondering what was going to happen, because I'd not done it myself. But he wasn't afraid. He knew it was going to work.
There was a deathly silence, though.
Well, yes, it was unspectacular. There was no arcing or flashing or heating up of wire. It just switched off. So we took it back to the workshop, put a power supply on, and it woke up again. So but yes, I was a little bit nervous at your enthusiasm.
I'm just getting a few glitches on my screen. If you wonder what that is, whenever I move my mouse to my second screen, which I'm just doing to prepare for something, I get this little glitchy thing which happens. What I wanted to do now actually is bring in Norm. Norm, are you available right now? Norm's in the green room. Yep. Thumbs up if you are. Cool. Okay, I'm going to bring Norm on screen. Good morning, Norm. Can't hear you. So while Norm's getting his audio sorted, the reason I was just bringing Norm on was because you were talking about, can we give a good thrashing to your batteries, Bradley? Yes, we can, because of Norm. So Norm's one of the products that his company sells is something called the AC Thor. And the AC Thor is a single or 3-phase power diverter, but it does some pretty special things. Now I'm just going to bring up the web page for MyPV, Norm, so people can see it. This is it's a very small unit. Like, it's really only about 120 mils high. Norm's probably got one on his desk. So, but this allows me to divert proportionally any surplus solar energy to hot water, and therefore it soaks up all the surplus energy that's on the microgrid. And on a good day, we'll have 20-30 kilowatts at the moment. Soon, once we get the second tracker up, we'll probably have 60-70 kilowatts of surplus to try and soak up when the batteries are full. That's going to move quite a bit of energy around. So actually having smart loads like the AC Thor is a great way, both on-grid and off-grid, of self-use of solar. So Norm, is your mic working yet? No audio. The usual drama, you change computers and nothing works. So yeah, Bradley, I'm going to just jump back to another shared screen, which I had up before. I'll just take this one off for a moment, which was the switched in interface that I have here, which actually is on the microgrid itself. And I think I've just got to bring that one up. Here we go. So this is this is a online platform from a company called Switched In. I was hoping to get them on the live stream, but they're so popular, it's really hard to even get them at the moment. So everyone wants a piece of Switched In because they're an integrator of lots of components, both by monitoring and control. So here, this is the battery system in this picture here is actually Bradley's PowerPlus Energy Tower of Power. If I point to it, you might be able to see. There we go. That's the Tower of Power there. Currently 72% state of charge, and currently it's charging at 0.29 kilowatts because it's not so sunny yet. But yeah, this gives a great sort of consumer level overview. There's also a nice new native app for this as well, so you can see it on your phone in a kind of app-friendly mode. But then if you really want to burrow down into the details, you can go to the analysis and see what's been happening today. I might just go back a day, for instance, and look at yesterday, because yesterday was a sweet sunny day. There we go. So there's a bit of generator usage because we did run out of puff in the middle of the night. So that's a generator running there. But then the sun came out and we had a wonderful sunny day charging those beautiful Tower of Power.
Can you see it all? You got me now, Glenn?
Oh, Norm, you're back. Yeah.
Sorry. Every time I jump into the computer, it turns something off. So we'll have to fix it up. Can you also? I was on a meeting with Switched In last night. Have you got our data on there as well?
I'm just going to bring that up. So I'll just bring it up off screen so we can see it. And I just have to do this. Talk amongst yourself.
What about you?
Where's your where do you buy your favourite French vanilla slice from?
Me?
Yeah.
Sorrento.
Oh, right. Okay.
There's a very good place down in Sorrento that makes good French vanilla slices, but I haven't had one for many years because my wife won't let me have them.
That's why I go to the bakery by myself.
Yeah, you're probably right. Where are you guys from? Sorry, I missed earlier. I'd only just joined.
PowerPlus Energy in Bayswater.
Okay, yep. We're down in Dramana in South Melbourne and New South Wales. So you're welcome to come and visit us one day if you get time.
Would love to. Any excuse for a road trip and to check out the new bakery.
There's bakeries here and there's breweries and there's wineries. There's all sorts. So you'll have a good day out, I think.
Yeah.
So Norm, I've got it up now. So sorry, it took a little bit of doing. This is the Switched In monitoring of the DC hot water charging system, the MyPV. I don't actually have the AC Thor on it yet. I should ask them to add that to it. But I guess the key thing here is you can see that it's heating water. This is the amount of kilowatt hours in a day that's being heated with solar PV, and there's a little bit of afternoon AC boosting going on. So just to make sure that the temperature is achieved by the end of the day.
Yeah, they've got the Actor one online because I looked at it with Grant last night. So yeah, maybe they can start getting that across to you as well. I guess the beauty with this system is that we look at trying to charge our tank, which we call a thermal battery. So the tank gets fully charged with as much daylight and sunlight as we can, and then we try and minimize the boost to only top up the tank if we need it. But yeah, we've got similar results with most of the stuff we're doing with what Glen's showing on the screen at the moment. We're installing a lot of these products into a lot of warehouses now, and they've gone away from the traditional thermal system into a DC single tank operation instead of having two tank system, and they'll never ever have a power bill because they just don't use enough hot water. We've only got one shower and a couple of hand basins and a tea sink, so but that's a good shot, Glen.
Cool. Now, since I've got you, Norm, let's have a look. There's a bunch of data that we can look at with this switch and interface. You see that I've just shown kilowatt hours per day of AC energy and DC energy, but I can look at all these metrics. My favorite one is current temperature. So see how hot it is at the moment. And so here you can see that this tank has been basically sitting at 65 to 80 degrees for 24 hours. It only needed a little bit of boosting to get up to full temperature, 80 degrees. So basically the solar is keeping it hot all the time.
Yeah, and you're using that tank as a preheat for the other system now. So your coldest water is coming through that tank first, discharging it in before it goes into the second tank. So that's a good result.
Yes, yeah, I love the way you can just with hot water just feed one to another. The hot out of one goes into the cold of the next loop because you're using heat exchange coils, and that's a very efficient way of heating water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or multiple coils to do. Yeah, or multiple coils to do multiple tasks as well. So and plus also connecting into the jacket of the tank with whether it be a heat pump or any alternative heat source. So we can achieve plenty of hot water. We got one tank in the gas world, two small gas appliances doing 50 apartments, no problem. Never running out of hot water. So, but as you know, Glenn, we've got a full team of engineers here that can help people design, whether it's a residential or commercial project. We like to get involved with what they're trying to do, not just sell them a tank off the shelf, because it's important we understand what they're trying to do, whether they're trying to do hydronic heating or hot water, or could be commercial applications as well. So anytime anyone needs to get in touch with any of our team, just look us up and give us a yell.
Yeah, so just bringing up your, here it is, your website. So this is Energy Smart Water's website, and there's a picture of that tank with a cutaway. It doesn't actually look like that in reality, otherwise the water would fall out. But you can see that heat exchange coil. Something I realized with coils is that you can have different functions for each of the coils. So you don't have to have just one. You can have multiple coils within one tank providing different services.
Yeah, so we can do domestic hot water. We can do hydronic heating, and we can put a titanium coil in and do your spa or your pool as well. Or we can manifold two larger coils together, get a high flow rate for like a commercial application. So yeah, it's pretty limited unlimited what we can do, what we can put in as energy source and what we can take out.
Yeah, so I noticed with my Rotex, the 500 litre one, I guess that the boiler is heating the bottom coil, whereas the domestic hot water comes off the top coil. So you always get the piping hot water for domestic, but you're heating from the very bottom, so you're getting a massive amount of energy storage in that tank, not just heating the top 1/3 like you normally do with an electrical water heater.
Yes, that's right, Glenn. When we heat the tank up, you find the whole tank will heat evenly, not have just a heat sitting up the top. But we can, with the Actor, we can set our tank up with a triple element system on the 9 kilowatt one, where we can have 3 different levels of elements in the tank. We have one operating here in Dramana. So if we only have on a linear charge 3 kilowatts available, we'll put that at the top of the tank and make sure we keep the hot water hot. So there's lots of different ways we can do things with hot water and make those systems work. Our other company is called Thermal Energy Solutions, which is our company that provides all of our engineering and support and sales. Energy Smart Water pretty much imports the products and distributes to about 12 countries worldwide. And Thermal Energy Solutions is a company we also own that's Australian based that does all the engineering and provides tech support and the likes. Yeah,
so I've had a bit to do with your engineers there. They've been very helpful, and my very complicated setup here at my home. So really appreciated their skill in understanding that complexity. I've got their I'll take your other company's website up here. So this is Thermal Energy Solutions. I hope I've got the right one.
Yep, that's the one. It's always a challenge when you want to fix up an existing system, but we can. You'll get a couple of little glitches and bugs here along the way, but we managed to fix it at the end of the day. So that's who we are. There's a lot of case studies on here of a lot of commercial projects, some residential projects. We've got house in Sydney operating with the same system you've got, Glen, and 90% of the hot waters come from the PV panels for the residential home. They've had about a $50 bill for the 12 months for excess boost. So we've got some really good case studies floating around, plenty of applications. It's still very hard for us to get our products installed in a lot of residential applications due to everyone wants to get a government grant for these type of we can get it for solar panels and inverters and everything else, but the solar hot water is just still a bit of an issue for us. But we've got customers that are keen to still explore it and install and see the benefit. One of the other things that we've found too is that our tanks are very unique. Tank is from Europe and it's very well insulated, as you're aware. Most of the tanks that we have in the country are probably poorly insulated. So a lot of the blogs we read and comments we get is we put excess power into our existing hot water tank, but we've lost half of it because it can't hold the tank temperature or to store the temperature properly. So that's sort of a bit of a challenge we face as well. The Actor can be connected to any existing hot water tank that has a 3.6 kilowatt element installed in it. Even though it's only got an output of 3 kilowatts, we can connect it to any 3.6 kilowatt tank. And the 9S we can connect to 3 by 3.6 kilowatt elements. The 9S we're working on now, an 18 kilowatt system for our 500 litre tank. It'll be running with what we call off the relay mode. We're just doing the firmware upgrade now, and it will have one Actor controlling 18 kilowatts linearly into the tank. So this is something we look at like a commercial heat pump sort of replacement as well, without using refrigerant. So I think it's going to be a big winner for us as well.
Wow, yeah, that's a nice healthy load. 18 kilowatts of electric water heating. So it can be staged too. It doesn't have to be on and off 18 kilowatts.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So we've got. I'm going to just jump back to Craig in a minute. So thanks for that, Norm. And we've also got Abhi from FoxESS joining us too. So we've got a few guests to bring on. But look, Norm, really appreciate your support for the Smart Energy Lab. And every time I have a shower or I feel the warmth in my slab, I go, thank you. that's all because of Smart Energy Smart Water.
All right. You're welcome, Glen. Thank you as well.
Okay, so I'm going to pop you back in the green room, Norm.
No problem. Thanks.
And enjoy the gratuities.
I will.
So, Craig, are you ready to come back? Good. Got you back there. So, Craig, I hadn't quite finished when I brought Norm in. I try to give all the guests a little bit of time, and I know that Bradley had to nip off for a meeting, but I was still going through some of the product offerings that PowerPlus Energy have. And so we looked at the Life Series and the Eco in the 48 volt range, but you've got larger units as well.
As in larger, what do you mean, Glenn?
Sorry, in terms of the voltage window. So you can do high voltage than 48 volts. Correct,
yeah. So we've got the 120 volt battery as well that we do predominantly at the moment for the Selectronic SB Pro. And that's a 3.3 kilowatt hour standard premium, one of our premium modules. And that's just comes in the same sort of platform that the 24 and the 48 volts do, where you just scale as many as you can to reach the capacity that you get to. And the 120 volt comes with the data monitoring that is seen with your Tower of Power as well up there in Hillsville.
I just found it on your website, actually. There it is. I'm going to bring it up on screen. Here we go. So this is your little gallery of some of the systems, and let's make it a little bit bigger so we can see it better. This is some of the systems that utilize your batteries. Now, the one that I'm hovering my mouse over at the moment, this is the so-called Tower of Power. At the Smart Energy Lab with a pile of leaves next to it. So I haven't cleaned up. It's an open shed, so a few leaves do blow in. It's weatherproof though. I mean, it's just got no walls. Tell us about these other systems, like this one here. There's a lot of cabinets there.
Yeah, so that one, I can't remember who that one's actually done by, but at the bottom two cabinets that you've got there at the bottom of that is got the PowerPlus Energy batteries inside those bottom two cabinets. I believe there's 6 batteries there. And in the top cabinet, they're using the same style and format cabinets to put the PCEs or the inverters in to make it look more sort of, I guess, prettier on the wall.
Right, so you can put your batteries, which are just notionally rack mounting, but you can put them into weatherproof enclosures and put them outdoors.
Yeah, correct. They can be stood on their ends or on their sides to suit any sort of enclosure that you want to put them in. I mean, we have a range of enclosures that people can purchase, but a lot of people do make their own cabinets as well. So you can put them up on their ends, you can lay them flat, or you can put them on their sides.
And the smaller cabinet arrangements like this one here is your small, what sort of 1 meter high data cabinet?
Correct. That's looks like an 8 battery or 10 battery data rack cabinets that we do. Nice glass front of them. You can see all the pretty blue lights as you can with the Tower of Power. That's quite a popular one, as in we have 5 sizes of those. That's quite popular when it comes to sort of the indoor, more industrial style. However, we're seeing our PEF6s, 9s, and our PEWs, the outdoor style ones, which are more, I guess they're less in your face in regards to the presentation of the battery, but it looks a lot neater in the installation, especially when you're doing them outside or in an area where the consumer just wants it to blend into the background.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm going to click on one more, so let's have a look here. All right, so this looks like your old factory.
Yeah, it's not our old factory. That one's an installation. I believe it was before AS5139 came in place. It's in an office area. The actual system there is using our PF9 cabinet. So, sorry, PF6 cabinet. In the top section of the cabinet is where you would install all your PCEs and electronics. And in the bottom 2 sections of the cabinet is where you can put up to 6 of our batteries in there. So 3 in the top shelf, 3 in the bottom. And I was mentioning before that these cabinets used to come with a kit of equipment. So it's got a fan, a thermostat, and a fan and a vent in the top section. And also we were using the Victron links for our DC bus bar and a no-arc breaker, 250 amp breaker. But now we've moved to our bus bar system on this cabinet, and the bus bar and the DC isolator are mounted in the lower section there with the batteries to make it an easier and faster installation.
Right. I'll just see if that's in the set of suite of pictures. Your new bus bar, is this one here?
It's probably, I can share if that allows me to share it. I've got this one I can share with you, like Glen, where the new bus bar is. I don't know if that's sharing to your screen, if you can see it.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. So let me just stop my share and I'll bring yours up. So that's good. Thank you for that. Here we go. Yeah, so I can see that you were talking about those new plastic screens.
Yeah, so the circuit breaker in the top section there, we've done some Perspex shrouds to go around the circuit breaker, so there's no touch points, and so it's fully insulated for the consumer to use it as their main DC isolator. With the no-arc breakers, they don't come with an enclosure, or they're very hard to find an enclosure that goes around them, so we've made them up with the Perspex. And at the bottom section there, we've got a DC bus bar system with the Perspex on there. We've just recently done another modification to bring the Perspex around that DC bus bar that you can see there at the front there to stop those touch points from the consumer when they open up the cabinet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty common way of including some conductive parts in the cabinet is just to screen them from touch, because really this cabinet is locked shut. But someone who's working on this still doesn't want to accidentally short circuit, plus and negative in there. Though it is protected by the circuit breakers and the batteries, you would have a little bit of a spark.
Yep. Yeah, so they're going through the R&D team and the product team are going through the cabinets at the moment and reviewing them all as in compliance with AS5139, Section 5 and Section 6, and just some of those other little sort of idiosyncrasies that they sort of see with the cabinets to make them, I guess, more compliant and better and more user-friendly. So.
Yeah, if everyone's really trying to come up to speed with 5139, it's got lots of curly clauses in there that are, gotchas. After you've built something, it's been installed, and then some annoying geek like me comes along and goes, oh, but the clause 5.3.4.1.7 says you can't do that.
I find it funny with the standard. It's all sort of, I guess it's sort of written in double Dutch, some of it, but when I was reading it, going back about 12 months ago now, I went through and highlighted the similarities between sections 4, 5, and 6. And there's quite a lot of similarities between the two of them. But like you said, there's a few sections and clauses that you can easily brush over, and you need to make sure that you catch them all. So
there's even a few typos where in section 5 it talks about a BESS instead of a battery system.
I haven't even noticed that one, so you've read it more times than I have.
Yeah, it's a copy and paste error. Yeah. So, Craig, have we covered off on everything? I think you've got one more in that line, which is your kind of like your car battery format too. I forget what they're called.
Yeah, so the little N70s, I guess we call them there's a 12 volt 100 amp hour, 24 volt 50 amp hour, and a 48 volt 25 amp hour batteries. They're designed for, I guess, your secondary battery if you're looking at mobile applications, your secondary battery in full drive vehicles. I've got some installed in my caravan at the moment, actually 3 of them in the 12 volt variety, and they get used a lot in lighting trailers and remote lighting systems throughout mine sites and that sort of area. Yeah,
it's really increased the storage capacity over a lead acid battery in the same form factor.
Yeah, they most definitely has. A lot of people do sort of, I guess, miss the ability for having the cranking out of these batteries as well. So a lot of the traditional sort of gel and lead acid batteries in a secondary battery in a full drive vehicle, they could still potentially use it as a cranking battery. However, with the lithiums, you don't get quite that ability. I think the maximum amps out of the 12 volt is 150 amps. That's not quite there enough to crank a car over, but it's definitely great for all of those secondary electronics in your boating, camping vehicles, and like I said, in remote trailers and that sort of stuff.
So an auxiliary battery, we've got a 2 battery setup. You've got your cranking battery, and then you've got your house battery, so like a 4-wheel drive with 2 batteries. You could use the lithium as your house battery. Yeah,
correct. As your secondary battery in the vehicle. So I've got the charging point. I have a mobile version of this battery that I just put in and out the back of the 4-wheel to run my fridge and that sort of stuff when I go away. In the caravan, I've got 3 stationary in there.
So will it be charged from the alternator without any special electronics?
You don't have to with this the warranty on these things. On these batteries, we don't really have a set charge parameters that you need to adhere to one of the warranty. They come with a 5-year standard warranty, and we don't warrant a residual state of health or anything left in the battery. So we don't mind how they're charged. They can be charged by the alternator if you choose to, if it puts out 14.4 volts or less, I guess. A lot of people, though, do put in the likes of the Red Arc or the projector car chargers into there, so that you can actually then customize the charge settings. So in my car, I've got the Red Arc version, which has some default settings for lithium batteries, and it puts out a nice 14.4 volts, which is beautiful for charging the 12 volt version of these.
So in a 2 battery setup with the house battery, that sits between the cranking battery and the house battery.
Correct, yeah. So it's powered off the cranking battery side through, so I guess, the alternator feed through it, and then it's just a little charger that's usually, a lot of times they mount them close to the battery system, wherever you've got it in the 4-wheel drive or the caravan, and away you go.
Right. Oh, great. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for your time today, Craig, and it's good having a chat to you from the joys of lockdown.
It is. It's actually good to be back at home again. I've got the kids at home. They're doing their homeschooling, and it's always good to see where they're sort of struggling or excelling. And what I can say is they've got this nailed now. So they've done it all before. They got straight into doing their homeschooling, and they're just nailing it. So I don't even have to. I feel like I'm a waste of space being here with them. So
ditto in this household too. It's great. They really are up to speed. They just know at 9 o'clock they've got to log in, talk to their teachers, get their plan for the day, do their work. They knock on my door and say, "Have you finished your show yet, Dad?"
I just tell them when I'm doing things like this to stop using the internet. So try and get them off their streaming things that they're doing. But
well, I got a dual set up, one for them and one for me, just so I've got the bandwidth.
Yeah, good.
All right. Well, I'm going to send you off to the green room and fare thee well. Thanks. Okay. Thanks very much, Craig.
Thanks so much, Glenn. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Bye.
Great. Oh well. So we've got one more guest in the green room. That's Abhi from FoxESS. So Abhi, are you ready to come online? Thumbs up. You ready? You ready, Abhi? Yep. Okay. Still like to embarrass people by jumping on too soon. There we go. Got you on screen. How you going? We don't have any audio though. That's the only hiccup there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. So Abhi, look, we've known each other for quite a long time. We've travelled around China together. That was fun, and visited some pretty awesome factories that FoxESS own.
Yes, definitely. You should come to our new factories. I had some pictures, but I don't know where I put it, so I'm unable to show you. It's actually almost twice as size as that battery factory you saw.
Wow!
Yeah, quite big, massive, 12 gigawatt actually.
So before we dive into talking a bit about Fox, because they're kind of like the new kid on the block as far as the Australian market's concerned. You did launch at the Smart Energy Expo, the new product, the new all-in-one, which I'll put a link to that in a minute. But so just Abhi, whereabouts are you? You're in Melbourne, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne. Yeah, in the southeast Island.
Yep. Cool. And so it's work from home for you again.
Unfortunately, yes. The lockdown extension didn't do much good either.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's your role within the company?
So Glenn, I'm the head of product and service. So I take care of product quality, product design to a certain level, not on the hands-on PCB level. And general service, take care of service, training, pretty much on the technical side. Yeah.
Cool. You're shaking a little bit in the camera.
Oh, that's just my table, I think.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. I had to speak without touching the table.
Don't touch the table. That's right. Yeah. It's making me seasick.
sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. So I'm going to just share a screen with the Fox website on it, so we can see that at the same time. So AIO storage. What's that all about?
So that's an abbreviation for all-in-one storage. So it essentially packs, it's one unit with the built-in inverter, and it can take 4 batteries, which is up to 10 kilowatt at the moment. That picture there is actually a legacy one. So if you go down to, I think if you go down to downloads, you can check their latest data sheet. Scroll down, all-in-one single phase. Yes. That's the one. Yeah. So both the hybrid and the AC, they look the same. Scroll down. Okay, I think that's still the older one, so I'll get that changed. So the newer one is actually technically getting released today in Shanghai. I know we've released in Australia in the Smart Energy show. So that's why they haven't actually upgraded that picture there. So once that the new product is released in Shanghai, that all these data sheets will get updated.
It's hard to keep up with Fox. They build stuff so quickly that last week's models, yesterday's model, and no time soon.
Yeah, we keep testing and we keep upgrading it, because until we release, I think we can change the model to make sure that it's the best fit for the market. Yeah. That's why. So this was 2 iterations ago. Right.
Now you've also got a 3-phase unit.
Yes. Yeah. It's 3 single phase and 3-phase. 3-phase would look. Now this is again the older model. The 3-phase will look similar to the single phase, both in dimensions and height. Everything. It's just the inverter PCB inside the box is different. That's all.
Right.
Yeah. So these are just waiting to be updated as soon as the new version is actually released. So that's the one that's going to hit the market. So
the single phase one that I just had up is the new form factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the same.
I'll bring that back. Is it under the product tab?
It is not yet released, so I don't think they are actually putting it there. Let me see if I can find it for you.
I'm just going to have a quick look to see if it's there. Sorry, we're just flying by the seat of our pants here, Mira and Abhi. Abhi got like 5 minutes notice about today's live stream. So
I just dropped in to say hello. I thought, okay, I just attend to it.
No, there's no just saying hello. You just got to come on and chat to me. Yeah. So this is some of the solar inverter range here as well. So Fox also make solar inverters without batteries. They make hybrids with batteries. They make the all-in-one, which is that new range of products, the single phase and 3-phase.
Yeah, so Australia won't have hybrid actually. It will have the all-in-one. straight away introduced here. I'm actually getting 1 unit for testing this week, so I'm excited too to get my hands on it finally. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Look, I did have a look at it at the Smart Energy Expo a few weeks ago, and that was it's a pretty impressive piece of design. You're obviously taken note of all the requirements, particularly Australia's requirements for points of isolation, overcurrent protection, ease of install, power ratings, and storage capacity. It ticks a lot of boxes.
Yep. We had a lot of iterations. Each time we bought something, we went to the market, asked for feedback. We had a lot of feedback, and obviously from your help as well, you gave a lot of feedback too, which we really appreciate. So that is what helped us to actually bring this. It has actually taken a bit more time than we expected, but it's come out better than we expected. So we are actually happy in one way.
Cool. So in a nutshell, what are the key of the all-in-one? What are the key numbers, the metrics, power rating, backup, storage capacity, etc.?
Yeah. So the biggest single-phase inverter we have is the 6 kilowatt. Both the 5 and 6 kilowatt, they'll have around 6 kilowatt of charger, which is separate. It can take up to 10.4 kilowatt of storage. That's 2.6 kilowatt hour batteries. And it has everything inbuilt, from DC isolators, AC isolator, even EPS breakers, everything inbuilt. There's a version that comes with inbuilt changeover switch and without an inbuilt changeover. That is for some installers, they prefer without an internal changeover, just because it will be very easy for them to install. So that's pretty much in a nutshell about it. It is IP65, so it can go outside. Ground mounted, so if you install it a little bit away from the wall, I think it's 600 mm, you don't have to install the protective sheeting on the board. So that's pretty much the key points there.
There's not many battery systems all-in-ones that can be freestanding. That's pretty impressive that you actually thought about this. So for those who are not familiar with the new battery standard AS/NZS 5139, there's a kind of, I call it the get out of jail free clause, because for any system, whether it's lithium ion or anything that you install where there's a habitable room behind, you have to have a protection against the spread of fire. And that would generally mean a large amount of something like cement sheeting on the wall, unless the wall's fire rated, such as brick, concrete block, terracotta tile. And putting that cement sheeting up on a wall can take time and expensive and difficult. But if you're 300 mils away from the wall, you don't require the fire barrier. So if you have the space and you don't want to have to put up a fire barrier, just move it away from the wall a bit. But you need a product that you can do that with, and so the FoxESS all-in-one, it has a self-supporting structure, and it's got places for dyno bolts at the bottom, so you can bolt it to a concrete slab, for instance, and it won't tip over.
Yes, that's it. We had a lot of discussion on the sheeting as well, and apparently most of the sheetings have metal in them. Those are rated for AS 5139, and I think there's another regulation in there as well. So that's why we thought, okay, look, we'll give this as an option for installers who don't want to install it.
Right. Oh, cool. Okay, so just to reiterate, in terms of the Australian market, Fox are bringing in the all-in-one, so that's single phase and three phase?
Single phase to begin with, the three phase will follow in 1 or 2 months.
Right. And in terms of, say, solar only, bringing in just the solar inverters as well?
Yeah, we already have the F series and the T series listed, just the single phase and three phase grid tie inverters.
Yep.
Single phase we have up to 6 kilowatt, three phase up to 25 kilowatt. We are also having a single phase coming in, which will go up to 10 kilowatt from 8 to 10, so 7 to 10, or 7, 8, 9, 10, 4 models coming in. That will come in again with the three phase all-in-one.
Right. Now, I've got a question without notice here. So, you know, the answer may be in the negative, but some inverters allow you to connect their backup circuit, their EPS circuit, in parallel with other inverters. So something like Selectronic, Victron, Schneider, they're all designed as off-grid inverters, basically, that can be used on-grid. And that means you can do AC coupling on their load side.
Yes.
Is that something that's possible with the all-in-one?
Not at the moment, not with this current model. We are actually designing an off-grid inverter. It's actually in the process. Apparently, if you want to add a solar inverter on the EPS side, there should be two-way current direction on the EPS plug, and that is possible only with an actual off-grid inverter. So this all-in-one that is being released at the moment is only for on-grid applications with occasional emergency power supply.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. There's a kind of a misunderstanding with some customers. They think that any inverter with a battery system associated can be used as an off-grid system. And I kind of think of off-grid as a little bit more than just a battery and inverter. You need a whole lot of other functionality. I mean, being able to AC couple is a great bonus. Being able to control a generator, so having some voltage-free contacts, or even control a load. Those are really nice features.
Yeah. So because when you talk about off-grid inverters, right, you at least need to have a frequency sort of control from because whatever, when you release an off-grid inverter, anybody can take any X brand or A brand and put it on the EPS side. And the only way this inverter can control that inverter is through frequency shifting. And apparently with on-grid inverters and EPS function, there is no EPS, so there's no frequency shifting. It's a steady 240 volt. So that's why we can't add it to ours yet.
Yeah, you've got no way to curtail that external generation using frequency shift.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think it was. I just thought, just curiosity, if it's on the roadmap, sounds like it is. So that's pretty exciting.
It's coming soon.
Yep. So for those who've never heard of Fox, Fox actually is part of a bigger company that we've visited their headquarters in China. What else do they do?
They do. They're actually #1 stainless steel manufacturing company. It's called Xingshan. And I think they have their own mines, own nickel mines to supply nickel to the stainless steel company. And that's when they thought, okay, nickel is used in batteries, so why don't we make batteries? And they started their own battery manufacturing unit. And I think it's completely automated unit. 1 kilometer production line, and half of that is with no lights because machines don't need lights. So that's how big they are. And it's fully automated. They just click a number of buttons and cells keep coming out. And we are using that same cells with our batteries. So everything is actually in-house. From stainless steel, from nickel, everything is our own, which actually gives us a lot of control over quality.
Yeah, I think that's the key point here, is that Fox own the world's biggest nickel mine in Sulawesi. So they've got the nickel, they make the batteries, they make the inverter, and they put the whole thing into a package. So you're really dealing with one company, you could say, from minerals to finished product.
Yeah. That's our motto, from powder to energy.
Yeah. It's totally an all-in-one in many ways. It also means they're not so controlled by external supply problems, because they actually own the supply.
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine those batteries go to more than just their inverter systems too.
Yeah, it's actually local in China. It's being used for electric buses, automobile industries. So they do have a lot of applications there. There are some which use our cells as for OEM. So there's a lot of applications there. But we are the inverter side of the business. We supply the inverter and everything. We make it. So this way, and I think this product will definitely be a good fit, just because what Xingshan and FoxESS can do.
Yeah, I mean, making batteries for buses, like public transport, means that reliability and safety are at utmost. You don't want the bus breaking down, and if something goes wrong, you don't want it catching on fire. So, that kind of means you've got to have a high quality product for that market. And that's being put into the same systems that go in people's homes and garages, because they only make one sort of battery cell type, and then they package it into different form factors.
Yeah, actually, there's we do make both chemistries, both NCM and LFP. Mm-hmm. But for Australia, for safety concerns, we prefer LFP. So it's going to be LFP for Australia.
Okay, so lithium phosphate.
Plus, yeah.
Yep. Oh, cool. So, Abhi, thanks for you just came to listen and you ended up being online. So sorry about making you turn your camera on. I think we've probably come to the end of this week's live stream. So it's great having some guests. I'm going to bring Norm back on so we can just have a little farewell to everyone. So Norm, do you mind coming back on for a... Yep. Okay. So bring Norm back in. So this is kind of appropriate. Here we all are, all in lockdown, all in Melbourne, talking to each other and the world. And so it's been great. And Norm, look, you're such a trooper. You've been here every day.
Support Glen. So, but thanks for giving us the opportunity. I did probably the same as Abhi. I've stuck my nose in the camera and you just pulled me straight in. So, but look, it's been quite a good opportunity for us to talk to people, and I know these things go out and people can look at them later. So once again, thank you. And if anybody's keen to come and catch up with us, more than welcome.
Cool. Oh, well, hopefully they can once lockdown's over and make the trip down to the wonderful Mornington Peninsula and Dramana and see your demonstration facility there.
No, most definitely. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks, Norm, and thanks, Abhi.
Thank you, Glenn.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to do the outro. Yep. See ya. Well, it's been a week and it's been fun. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have, and really appreciate all the support I've had from many of the companies that supply product here to the Smart Energy Lab, and just industry people in general. And of course, you, the audience, who turn up to watch this. So thanks a lot. And just a plug for my show every Sunday, it's actually my doppelganger, DJ Glenmo. He comes on wearing all sorts of gold bling stuff, and he talks about tech, and it's called Toolbox Tech Talk, 2 p.m. every Sunday, Melbourne time, for about an hour or so, and usually with a guest or two, but sometimes it's just about the tech. So anyway, if you want to join Toolbox Tech Talk, 2 p.m. Sunday, hope to see you there on the same channels. Okay, bye for now.